Have you ever found yourself signing an agreement in family court and then walking away with this sinking feeling that you didn't really agree at all? Well, you are not alone. Today, we're going to unpack that immense pressure to settle. We're going to explore why so many people feel like they didn't consent, but actually surrendered. You know, this one sentence, I didn't agree, I surrendered, it just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that feeling of giving up, not choosing. And if that hits home for you, I just want you to know that this feeling is so common. And this explainer, it's all about giving you some clarity and maybe a new way to talk about what you've been through. So, on paper, settlements are made out to be a good thing, right? You know, they're more efficient, they create less conflict, but the real question we're digging into today is this. What happens when that whole process is driven by fear and pressure, and not by genuine consent? At what point does a choice stop being a real choice? All right, so let's start by drawing a really clear line in the sand. What is the actual difference between a true agreement and a surrender that's made under all that pressure? Because understanding this distinction, that's step one. And you can see it right here, the difference is night and day. True consent over on the left, that's all about it being voluntary. It means you actually understand what's going on, you have time to process it, and you have realistic options. But coerced consent, that's the total opposite. It's a decision that's driven by fear, by insane pressure, and by this overwhelming feeling that you have no other choice. They might both end with a signature, but believe me, the experiences are worlds apart. Yeah, coercion absolutely thrives when things are imbalanced. And let's be real, family court is rarely a level playing field. I mean, you can see here, these power disparities, whether it's about money or legal know-how, or even just the system itself, they can turn what looks like a choice on paper into an impossible situation in real life. The big takeaway here is that context. Context is everything. So, how does this pressure actually build up? In this next part, we're going to dissect that vague, awful feeling into specific, identifiable tactics. Because once you can actually name what's happening, you can start to take back your power. Okay, first up, financial pressure. This is one of the most common and honestly one of the most effective tools of coercion out there. The goal here isn't to get to a fair agreement. Nope. The goal is to make the alternative, actually going to trial, seem completely and utterly impossible from a financial standpoint. And this shows you exactly how it works. It's not just that going to court is expensive. It's the direct threats, like, if you don't settle this right now, I'm going to make you pay for my lawyer. Or getting buried in endless paperwork, just to wear you down and drain your bank account. You end up signing not because the deal is any good, but because you're terrified of total financial ruin. Next up, there's the emotional and the psychological game. This tactic, it weaponizes your love for your kids. It takes your desire to be a good parent and twists it, turning your own best qualities against you. Just look at these phrases. They are designed to trigger shame and fear. When someone tells you you're being a bad parent just for not immediately agreeing to their terms, they're not negotiating in good faith. They are trying to emotionally manipulate you so you'll just comply. And then, of course, there's the classic hallway settlement. You're at court, you're already stressed out of your mind, and suddenly you're told you have 10 minutes to decide on something that will impact the rest of your life. This isn't negotiation. It's creating a crisis on purpose. These are the red flags to watch out for. If you are feeling panicked, if you're being told you have to decide right now, and if you're literally feeling sick to your stomach, your ability to give informed consent is basically gone. That pressure is designed to make you sign, just to make that awful feeling stop. Now, if you've been in this exact situation, you might have blamed yourself. You might have thought, why on earth did I agree? I'm so stupid. I really need you to hear this next part, because it's so important. Your reaction wasn't a character flaw. It was your biology. So here's the key takeaway. Agreeing when you're under that much pressure is very often a freeze or a fawn response. Your brain literally shifts into survival mode. It starts prioritizing your immediate safety over any kind of long-term planning. It's not a rational choice. It's a deep physiological instinct kicking in. And that survival response often gets tangled up in what experts call FOG. It stands for fear, obligation, and guilt. This toxic mix creates a mental state where saying no just feels impossible. The fear paralyzes you, the sense of obligation pressures you, and the guilt makes you question everything you're doing. Okay, so we've identified the problem, right? So how can you know in that crazy high stress moment if you're actually capable of giving real consent? This section has a simple but incredibly powerful tool to help you check in with yourself. It's all about giving yourself the power of a pause. Just start with this question. It sounds so simple, but it is profound. If you can't clearly explain the main points of the deal out loud to a friend, in plain English, it's a huge sign that your own understanding probably isn't solid enough to be giving informed consent. And this one can really hit hard. Have you slept? Have you eaten? It's basic physiology. Being sleep deprived just destroys your judgment, your ability to regulate your emotions, and your ability to make complex decisions. If the answer is no, your capacity to consent is compromised. Period. And this gets to the absolute heart of it. If your answer to this question is yes, then you are almost certainly experiencing coercion. See, a voluntary agreement allows for time and thought. A coerced one punishes you for even asking for it. This question really shows the difference between a negotiation and a hostage situation. So what do you do after the fact? I mean, whether you sign that paper or not, the whole experience can leave you feeling completely powerless. This last section is about taking real, concrete steps to document what happened and start to reclaim your story. Look, documentation is power. It really is. It helps you make sense of all the chaos, and it gives you a record for your therapist, or maybe for a new lawyer down the road. And as you can see, it doesn't have to be some huge, complicated thing. A simple timeline, an email to yourself. These small actions help you move from feeling like a victim of the story to being the author of your own history. You know, sometimes the hardest part is just figuring out what to say. So here are some simple factual ways to explain what happened without having to relive every traumatic detail from scratch. Using clear language like this can help you communicate your experience effectively to the people who can actually help you. So let's end on this. This is the most important takeaway of all. If you signed an agreement under duress, you did not fail, you survived. Your brain and your body did what they had to do to get you through an overwhelming, impossible situation. I want you to try and reframe it, not as a failure, but as proof of your own resilience. The question now isn't about what you should have done then. The question is, what can you do for yourself starting today?